Boom.
Welcome, man.
Down, baby.
Ball Knowers University, BKU, episode 24. Shout out Kobe. Shout out Jeff Gordon. Shout out Ken Griffey Jr. Wednesday, January 8th, first episode of 2025. Happy New Year's, boys.
Happy New Year's.
We haven't done this podcast in a year. A little crazy.
We've, we haven't been here since, what year was that when we started? Like 94 or 24?
September 08. We already have our first comment. Fancy intro, brother. And we've been doing this forever.
Yeah.
Garrett, get with the times. We've been doing this for years.
Does it pop up? I can't even see if it popped up.
Yeah,
Yes, it popped up.
Okay. Anywho.
Fancy profile pic, bro.
Anyway.
Dog, you're in high school. Get out of the comment.
We have some games to discuss.
What is that? Perfect attendance? I know that's not a grade thing.
We have bowl games to discuss, gentlemen. Quarterfinals came and went. Big upsets. Not really. A lot of blowouts. And one fantastic game in Atlanta, Georgia. Something we didn't see coming. Maybe some of us saw. But
I saw it.
I saw it. I saw it. We saw it. High five for the Irish.
Yeah.
I wasn't talking about that game. That wasn't in Atlanta, now was it?
No, that one was in New Orleans.
Yeah. Now you guys feel like dumbasses. Congratulations.
No, I don't. Because whenever I prove that you were wrong about something, it makes me feel good.
Fair enough. Anyway, big weekend, big couple of days. Tomorrow night on ESPN, we have a little bit of an Orange Bowl, Miami, Florida. We have Notre Dame Fighting Irish taking on Penn State. We have a game on Friday night against two big blue bloods. If you want ratings, put these teams in. Texas, Ohio State, a rematch playing for the first time since 2008, I believe. Danny, fact check.
They played them in a bowl game, maybe like 08, 09-ish.
I believe it was 08. Terrell Pryor played that game because Jim Tressel saw that, what's the senior quarterback? Bachman?
Yeah. Who's,
something like that. Couldn't play. They split time there. Yeah, it was kind of Terrell Pryor's coming out party. We have rematches. And if you want ratings, is there a better Final Four you could have? Maybe if you throw Michigan in?
Yeah, some really classic teams that Notre Dame gets a bad rap, but they've played in big games. They normally don't win them, but they've been here. Penn State hasn't been here. Texas kind of hasn't been here. So, Ohio State and Notre Dame. Ohio State's a team that's been here. They've won some, but they've also lost their fair share. Notre Dame's been here and lost. Penn State hasn't been here, and Texas hasn't been here. This late.
I'll say these are four of the most prestigious underachievers in the sport of college football.
Agree. These are the best runner-ups.
In the last 20 years, these combined four teams have combined for a total of, 2 national championships? I think Texas was 05 and then Ohio State in 2014.
Yeah.
And Notre Dame and Penn State, they haven't won anything.
What Penn State won in the 90s, and the Notre Dame's last is 88.
Something like that. But it's been a while. But we'll recap how we got here, and then we'll preview those games. We have some injury updates. I know there's 2 big ones in the Orange Bowl, Jeremiah Love and Abdul Carter. Ones we'll have to talk about. But anyway, we'll get into recapping what happened last week. One of these games we'll start. Danny, where do you want to start? I'll let you pick.
I want to start with the only good playoff game we've had.
Peach Bowl. Last week, the overtime game, 2 overtime game. Texas beating Arizona State 39-31 in Atlanta. That game, Arizona State was down 24-8, I think, in the fourth quarter, maybe 11 minutes left.
Yeah. Yep.
I think they were down 16. And then who do you turn to? Scattaboo. He threw for a touchdown. He ran for a touchdown. He ran for another touchdown, 2-point conversion. He was all over.
Not that really cool deep ball where he got his helmet ripped off. The kid's stat line was insane.
He stood up over top of the guy, and then he was thrown up on the sideline. It's I don't know what to say. That kid was incredible. It just wasn't enough.
It's not It's not wrong to throw up on New Year's Day.
Yeah. Some of us sang karaoke the night before and
That's
threw
what
up
I'm
that
talking
night.
about. Yeah.
But anyway, 39-31, Texas wins, moves on to the Cotton Bowl. Connor, your thoughts. Give us, what did Texas impress you? Did Arizona State impress you? A little bit of both? Tell me.
A little bit of both. Scatterboo, I think, is him.
Well, your brother is an idiot and is disagreeing in the chat.
Yeah, I know. I see that.
I'm going to go fight it.
I feel like if Arizona State would have showed up in the, first half, I think we might be looking at Ohio State would be looking at a different opponent this week. But it is what it is. It's football. It happens. It was a great game. I still feel I'm sticking to my opinion. I feel like you need to go with Arch Manning. I also think they should do it this week. Give Ohio State maybe a different look in the first quarter. But who knows? I'm excited for this week. Last week's there and gone. On to the next.
Yeah. I don't disagree with you on the Arch Manning take. I don't know. Quinn played his best game, though, from what I've seen this past week. His check call to make a go route on 4th and 13 to save them the season.
Right.
That was a great call. Great throw. And then the very next play, they throw it to Gunnar Helm for a touchdown. I don't know what else to say. They kind of snuck their way here. They're not SEC champions. None of these Final Four are a conference champion. Only 2 of them made it to a conference championship game. It's something to look at. Danny, your thoughts on the Peach Bowl?
Awesome. Early on, Texas jumped out to that 14-3 lead, and in a game that Texas I thought was already going to have trouble to keep up in, or Arizona State, trouble to keep up in. That kind of sucked the life out of them when they scored like 14 points on 3 plays. Like, it just sucked. And then their defense, I remember saying to my dad, I was like, because we were watching this over at grandma's before we went back home for the big one. But I remember being like they're stopping them. Like, Arizona State needs to be okay with field goals and just take every point they can get. Because when this thing gets to the fourth quarter, other than the 2 big plays that Texas had, which you can't take away, but they weren't killing Arizona State. Their offense was very hit or miss. And Arizona State kept in it, and then they got that safety, and I was like, oh, they just got a safety. They're going to go down and punch a touchdown, and we got ourselves a hell of a game. And then they got held to a field goal, and it kind of just felt like, that might have done it. And then Texas goes down super early, fourth quarter, scores a touchdown, and just it's like, oh, that might have been the dagger. I remember telling my dad, I'm like, that could be the dagger. And then it's like that play happened, and Arizona State was like, here we come. And I believe that, did they get the trick play?
I think that was the first touchdown that they scored.
Because they were down 16. It was 24-8.
Yep.
And then they scored just massive back-to-back touchdowns. And I remember telling my brother, I'm like, after they scored that first one, I was like, oh, they just got the 2. Now they're only down 8. Here we go. And then they got a stop, got a score, went for 2 after – was the second time they went for 2, or the second time they had to go for 2, and they didn't get it. And then there was – after he ran 80 yards looking for a receiver – there was holding, so they got to retry it, and then they gave it to Cam Scatterboo because, at the 1-yard line, it's his ball.
Yeah, who else are you going to give it to?
Right, yeah. At Seahawks.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then when they scored that, man, I was like, oh, it's meant to be. But my brother kept saying, he was like, man, this is meant, Texas is going to go hit a field goal, just when you thought. I'm like, oh, yeah, it sized up. And he hit that field goal. It was no good. I was like, why, as a coach, why do you bug your kicker when he goes back out after he missed the first one? The second one was second.
I think it was more of I trust you. You got the whole team behind you.
Yeah.
Just go out there, do your thing. And sometimes the way these kickers, they kick the ball, that's just the shape of the ball. And it turns a certain way. It catches the jet stream a certain way, and it just tails.
Jet stream? They were indoors.
I'm just saying, the flight of the ball, aerodynamics,
Isn't
everything.
that their job to be able to control that in some of the biggest moments? I know you're not going to go 100.
I mean, you got to strike it a certain way, and the most confident way you can do it. And he hit his, and hit the way it got off his foot. It kind of just hooked, and then it just missed to the left, I believe.
He pulled it all the way, I believe.
But Auburn's been a great kicker his entire career at Texas. I think he's the points leader for Texas. So the fact that he missed 2 of them,
good for 2 years too.
Yeah, things were lining up for Arizona State. Who are you most impressed with in this entire game? Got to be Cam Scatterby, right?
Yeah, and then like their quarterback. I mean, he played pretty good too. I don't know. Arizona State's a good team. They just don't have the guys to really. Yeah, exactly, Bastard. That's what I'm saying. This guy tried to pick. Okay, whose is this? I'm not gonna show this actually. This I just realized what I was sitting on. And whose is this?
What is it?
Besides the point, we gotta keep it rolling here. Is that lip gloss?
That was on the table at New Year's Eve the other night. That was on the table at New Year's Eve. Trevor picked that up.
Why did I just find it in my recliner? I leaned back and felt something roll against my ass. I was like,
That's funny.
What is this? Trevor, why do you bring things home from the bar? Stop. That's weird.
That's funny. Any other thoughts on the Peach Bowl? I mean, Quinn Ewers played his best game, like I said earlier. Texas defense held Arizona State for 3.5 quarters, and then their dam kind of broke.
How alarmed are we if we were Texas fans, which we're not because that would suck. But how alarmed would we be with that offense? Because it's a lot like Ohio State's regular season offense. It's like some games, man, it just takes everything to get 3 touchdowns. And then other games, it's like you blink and you're up 3 touchdowns. I don't get why they're like the only thing that's different between Texas and Ohio State's offense is Ohio State's been clicking the last 2. Texas really hasn't had like back-to-back, just they're on it game.
Yeah.
But I mean, Ohio State barely scored against Nebraska after losing to Oregon. Will Howard's throwing picks, and it felt like he kind of had maybe a 6-week stretch from like week 3 to like week 6, and then that Michigan game is like a thing of its own. But I feel like Ewers is a lot like Howard was at parts of the season, like great, and then it's just like, what are you doing? And that kills an offense.
Yeah, I mean, out of all 4 of these quarterbacks that are left, can you really say one's clearly better than the other 4 or the other 3?
No, yeah, I saw somebody say Howard was the worst, even though he's got some of the better stats. But I also don't think those stats are entirely true because, I mean, he's made some great throws, don't get me wrong, but like a lot of these throws have been catch and run.
Yeah, it was the one dude on ESPN that said that. I forget what his name is.
It was the guy that freaking played for Texas in like the early 2000s.
Emmanuel Acho. He's on Fox Sports.
Yeah.
He had a thing with Joy Taylor. He's probably getting fired. Anyway.
I think AJ just said it best for once. He says like a smart thing that I agree with. There's not like a quarterback where it's like, this guy's like, this is better. I mean, Riley Leonard, he doesn't really do much, but he's a good quarterback. Like he's a game manager, so you can't take that from him. Will Howard just gets the ball out to his playmakers. He's made some great throws, but at this point, if you're this far, you're at least good quarterback.
Yeah,
Drew Allen probably has the most upside.
I think he has the most talent.
Yeah, and then who am I forgetting? Oh, Quinn is kind of underperformed, but also underperforming is like just a solid B- quarterback. You just thought he was an A+.
I think they have just as much wide receiver talent as Oregon does.
Who, Texas?
Texas, yeah. So when you're Quinn, realistically, you only need to pass the ball to your playmakers. Like Gunnar Helm, I think he is the leading receiver on Texas. He's got 900 yards. Like, just make easy plays, get those guys the ball, and you'll be okay, which I think Quinn hasn't done it nearly as much. They've been more of 3 yards, cloud of dust, and throw in third down.
That's why when they were like season on the line, 4th and 12, I was like, that's it. They haven't been able to pick up a big chunk play when they have to have it all year. And they do that. It's like, it's like It's a lot like watching Ohio State earlier in the year. It's like, where is it? Where is it? And then you strike. It's like, oh, there it is. But why aren't we consistent? Like, that's – I don't know. I think this Texas-Ohio State game is going to be the best game of the playoffs. I really do.
We'll get to it in a second. Talking about Ohio State's game, the Rose Bowl was not the instant classic I called for.
Nope.
But I wasn't disappointed in it.
Nope.
Ohio State wins 41-21 against Oregon in the Rose Bowl. That's the first time they've beaten Oregon since the national championship game in 2015. They jumped out to a 31-0 lead early. They had Jeremiah Smith early. They actually hit Jeremiah Smith twice early.
Yeah.
It was kind of made Oregon play catch-up the entire game, and they're not really built to do that. Danny, you have comments?
Well, kind of on the overall way that Ohio State started and a lot like how they started against Tennessee, one thing that I'm nervous, and I'll keep myself from getting too in-depth because I know this isn't the point of the podcast that we talk about this, but I'm intrigued to see what Ohio State does when they don't just blink and they're up 21-0. Like, I remember against Tennessee, well, obviously 21-0, it's like, how? And then Oregon, we went up 14, and it's like, okay, that's just a big play early. We got to stop, and then we went on a good drive. I love it. And then when they caught, I believe it was the deep ball to Smith where he was just wide open to make it maybe like a 3-score lead.
It was 21 at that point.
So that made it
24-0 at that point.
Yeah. I thought it might have been 17, but whatever. The touchdown, like that touchdown was when it's like, why is he just wide open? I mean, I know, but why do you put a safety on him? Whatever. I feel like because Oregon settled in very good. Exactly like.
Bastard Wise Dog says, Ohio destroyed Oregon much like a city plow in the ditch at Madison Township. Connor, I feel like you have some thoughts on how that went.
Yeah. So, well, my days are thrown off here. 2 nights ago? Yeah, 2 nights ago. Snow just coming down, like left and right.
All over.
White snow everywhere.
Blowing everywhere, man. I put my plow down. I was coming back into the county line for Preble County. They haven't even touched the roads, right? So I'm plowing my way back into the county so I can get around.
Much like Jeremiah Smith through Oregon defense.
Huh?
Yeah. No, he said just say yeah.
Okay. Next thing I know, I feel my plow go off the road.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, I was in the ditch. Driver's side wheels hanging up in the air. I had to call someone to come pull me out.
Don't do that.
That was Dylan Gabriel last Wednesday.
Yeah.
Wednesday afternoon. Much like Connor, Oregon got stuck. Dylan Gabriel got sacked 8 times in this game.
Which is, where do you think it went wrong with Oregon? Like, where do you think the wheels fell off?
Where they proceeded to not double team Jeremiah Smith.
Yeah, the wheels fell off when he did that early morning interview saying that football games should be all played in domes or in Hawaii.
Oh, Dylan Gabriel? Yeah.
Yeah.
That was an interesting thing to say. He also was high out of his mind.
Yeah.
You play in the Rose Bowl, you might as well be in a dome. I mean, it's perfect.
The Rose Bowl is perfect. It's the
not right now because of the wildfires. It'd be a little hard to breathe, but
thoughts and prayers to everyone dealing with that in California. Terrible situation.
You know, it's literally happening like Pasadena, like right on.
It's spreading like wildfire. Awful.
Because it is a wildfire.
Exactly.
I know, but it's the fact that it's happening in like pretty much LA.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy. Not on this.
Another important thing from this game is we finally saw both running backs for Ohio State really get their own. I think Quinshon Judkins had about like 8 carries for 90-something yards. And then Travion Henderson had his big 60-yard run to make it 31-0. Yeah, he's been wanting that all season. I guarantee it.
That home run for him has been hiding.
The offensive line for Ohio State played incredible. They've looked unmatched. They've looked like a 5-star, all 5 of them. Every single one.
3 of them are new.
No, yeah. It's crazy. They've lost, or 3 of them have been hurt. 2 of them's out for the season. And
so what? You lost a guard, a center, and a tackle?
Yeah.
We've literally lost every position.
And they've been able to move them around, and somehow it's making do right now. and that's all you can ask for.
Am I the only one that notices like our snaps are so low with Hinsman? So low.
No, I noticed it too because I was like, every time Will's like
at his
dropping
shin,
down to pick it up.
Mid shin is where Will gets the ball.
Yeah, and it's like, is that Seth McLaughlin from last year? Because that's what he was doing in the Rose Bowl a year ago.
Yeah, he's literally getting the difference between Hinsman and Seth is like a foot. Yeah. And like, so if that's your normal snap, if you have one that's kind of low, you're bouncing it. That's a game changer.
Yeah, that could cost them this weekend if they're not careful. Because if he gets a low enough snap, Texas they jump on a lot of stuff.
And the biggest thing, like you were saying, that offense line, Will has not even been sacked in the last 2 games. That's amazing.
It's huge. Since the Michigan game, the offensive line, they kind of were like, okay, we need to put the team on our back. We're trying to prove everyone wrong, which so far they've done it. And I would say this weekend's their toughest test of the season by far.
Yeah, Texas just because of Texas's defense.
Their front 7 is the best in college football, other than Ohio State. Ohio State's got a really good 7 too.
Yeah, and you see how disruptive that can be.
Yeah,
like a front 7 can hide some blemishes in the back 4.
Yeah,
like your corners don't have to play amazing when the pass rushers get them at home.
Yeah. Another thing I love seeing is the use of G. Scott Jr. I mean, good Lord, he's finally playing like a guy that they've wanted him to be the last 4 years.
Yeah.
It's crazy. They opened up the first play of the game for the Buckeyes was a wheel route throw to G. Scott Jr. for 30 yards. And then from that point on, it's like, okay, I like what we're doing. And then Chip Kelly's been coaching his ass off the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It was Ryan Day, so has Jim Knowles. So it's good to see. Connor, do you have any takes on the game?
No, I don't, because I only watched the first half of the game because I got bored and I was extremely hungover. Not hungover, just tired.
That's fair. I love the honesty, though.
Yeah.
We'll move on to one that we were watching together on Thursday night. Got postponed due to the tragic terrorist attack in New Orleans on Wednesday night or Tuesday night, right? New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, whatever you want.
So they decided to postpone it to the next day, where the Fighting Irish, new year, knew them, I guess, because they are a team unleashed under Marcus Freeman. Connor has stated the fact that every 3 years, a new head coach for Notre Dame, they make it to a national championship game. Some have won it, some have lost it. Marcus Freeman, though, he's a game away from doing that. They beat Georgia 23-10. That final 2 minutes of the first half and the start of the second half, ball game. You could have packed it up, went home, watched the rest of the game, and you would have known what's happened. Because Notre Dame
There's one massive detail that you wouldn't get from those 2 minutes.
Give it to me.
P. fucking Jones.
Well, that was the first quarter.
Play of the game, man. Getting in the ref's way. The ref, was he 5 yards to the sideline? Maybe. Was P. Jones trending on Twitter? Absolutely.
Wait, did I miss something?
The entire first half, because the entire first half was boring as fuck. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I loved it. I told Connor this.
Never mind.
You understand. You get it.
Yeah. I forgot about that part.
Yep.
Okay.
It
if this first quarter results in like 3-0 or 0-0, Notre Dame wins. Did I not say that? Like, if you keep this low scoring, Notre Dame's going to win this game.
Right.
But Georgia went down. What did they do? They held them to a field goal. Was it the fumble that kind of like after that fumble, man? They didn't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they fumbled, and then there was the sideline pass to I forget his name, but that's the one that Pete Jones bumped on the ref, and then they had to settle for a field goal.
Yep.
I think that's what tied it up. 3-3.
That was a big play too.
They were going to be inside the 10-yard line.
Yeah.
Georgia went up 3-0 first.
Yeah, it was 3-0, and then Notre Dame tied it with a field goal, and then Georgia took a 6-3 lead.
Yeah.
I think
it was.
No, it can't be possible because they only got 10 points.
Yeah,
maybe they tied it up. Maybe they tied it up on that field goal.
Yeah, they went down. Georgia's like first or second drive was that field goal.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Anyway,
the pass right before, and then the kick return right after is the 2 minutes you're talking about, and that's literally that was the game.
Georgia could not block Notre Dame. They could not. So the fact that you want to try to push the ball down the field and be aggressive on what was it? With like less than 30 seconds left in the half. Why are you, if you're Kirby Smart, why are you trying to do that? That makes no sense. The strip sack and then instant touchdown the play later.
Right.
No sense. Connor, I'm going to need to hear some thoughts here.
Well,
yeah, Connor, from the Notre Dame fan, give us how you feeling about this team.
I'm feeling pretty good about this team. Just to recap on the Georgia game here real quick. I told you guys, did I not? No big plays and stop the run. They did that.
Yeah, they had big plays.
They had a couple big plays, but they kept them to a minimum.
Yeah.
They kept Georgia in check. They didn't let the big dog, have their moments.
Bye, wise dog. Have fun singing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will say that's the way Notre Dame wins this whole thing is just managing the game. And if they can score 20 points in their methodical way of scoring, and getting 2 first downs every drive is like a win in Notre Dame's eyes, and then try and score, some sort of points every quarter, whether that be 3 or 7. That's all they want to do. And then other than that, they want to go up, get a lead, and sit on it like a mother bird sitting on an egg. Just protect that thing.
But
most teams like Ohio State wants to get – their defense can protect the lead. But, Ohio State wants to strike. I really think if Notre Dame could, they'd go up 3-0 and be like, we're done. We're just going to run the ball, get 2 first downs, take 5 minutes to drive, punt, make you start inside the 20 every time. That's how Notre Dame wins games.
Right.
And they're very good at it when they do it their way. When they don't do it their way and when, teams strike early, they can't come from behind. If they go down 10-0, pack it up.
It's going to be tough. You don't want to put the ball in Riley Leonard's hands and rely on him to win you a game.
You want to win a game and Riley Leonard throw under 120 yards.
He threw 90 yards this game, and that was no problem. They beat him by 13 points. Ridiculous. 90 passing yards. They went 15 for 24. Average yards per pass, 3.8.
He's got to make one realistic hell of a throw once a game. He's got to deliver one 15-yard ball. And if they do that, and that was the touchdown, the post in the end zone or whatever.
Well,
if he gets that, that's the difference.
Here's the thing. He's got to do that more than once this week because I don't know how good Jeremiah Love's going to be on that knee.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
I got a report that said he looks good to go, according to Coach Marcus Freeman. We'll see how true that is because they're going to have to rely on him and the other running back both.
Yeah. And another injury that just it sucks. It happens. It's part of the game. Is I thought not having Xavier Watts against Georgia was going to suck. Honestly, I couldn't even tell he wasn't there. Or no, Xavier Watts did play. I'm sorry.
Then he got hurt in the game.
Yeah, he got hurt. Riley Mills is what I'm talking about. Riley Mills.
Yeah.
I thought that was going to hurt us, but honestly, our pass rush and our run defense was pretty good. Hopefully we can carry that into this week against Penn State.
I think the biggest keys for Notre Dame's victory over Georgia was they held them to 66 rush yards. Average yards per carry, 2.3. Tell me a team that's going to win a football game like that.
Right.
Because you can't.
No.
They also take 2 critical takeaways. And one of the biggest things that we're not even mentioning was Marcus Freeman's incredible bring the punt team off the field, hurry up, bring the offense back on the field. And you know what it caused? Panic. Mm-hmm. And what does Georgia players do worse than anything when they're under pressure? Make smart decisions.
Yep. Jump off.
AKA 20 charges of reckless driving. When you make them panic, they're not good.
No.
Yeah.
Danny?
I kind of thought Notre Dame was going to piss down their leg early when they got the back-to-back running into the kicker. There's just little things like that it's like, what are you doing? You're the same person, and then he gets an offsides,
the next series.
Quarter.
It wasn't the next series after that.
I mean, take him behind the barn at that point. He's done. Hang it up, buddy. Like,
I mean, to back running into the kickers, which the first one should have been roughing the kicker, in my opinion.
oh my God.
I looked back at the video. That should have been roughing the kicker, and
rough.
that should have been
Yeah.
15 yards in the first time.
Yeah. The biggest thing between running in and roughing is if you're touching that plant leg, like, I don't know how that's not roughing. Like, if
Well,
you
I mean, he didn't run into the planting leg. He killed the guy.
that's what I'm saying. If you cause the plant leg to get hit or you straight up tackle him, and then when he did it again, that's when I looked at you. I was like, if they call this roughing, that's a complete makeup call because this was a lot less.
I've never understood the roughing or running. Like the fact that I understand what the rule says, but we never see a guy touch the plant leg anymore.
No.
Like never. Or even if like they're diving straight at like the leg they kicked with, how is that not like that looks very rough when they get hit?
No.
I don't know.
The biggest thing is just like if it's like I think running into the kicker is more like incidental contact.
Yeah.
You're clearly trying like the second penalty, that was clearly like he almost got the ball and then he missed, and so you're gonna hit the leg because the leg's right behind the ball. Whereas roughing is like you didn't even try to not hit him, like you just didn't care. Like you were going after the ball or his body, you didn't care. That's kind of where I think it's a lot like the flagrant 1 or flagrant 2 in basketball. It's a whole judgment call.
Was it the Texas and Arizona State game where Texas had like a wide open block punt opportunity and then the guy just didn't look at the ball, so he missed the punt?
God, yeah.
I forgot all about that, but he was like blocked like this.
Yeah, it happened super early because Trevor and me were still watching it here.
Yeah.
And like I was like, oh my God, how did he not block it? Like put your hands out, dog. Like,
or just open your eyes. I know when like some guys, you're about to like when you're kicking field goals on like a football field messing around and you're holding for your buddy, you have to look away so you won't raise your finger up. Yeah. It's kind of a thing where you like open your eyes. If you can't see the ball, you're not going to block it.
Right.
But what are our thoughts with where does Kirby Smart go from here? This is a big loss. I know he had a backup quarterback, but Gunnar Stockton, he played pretty well with going against the defense in his first career start that has multiple NFL guys on it.
Georgia hasn't won a national championship since the early 20s. Like, this is a problem for Georgia. They've kind of fallen off the wagon. They've missed a playoff game. Now you haven't even, like, you get here and that they officially wrote no team with the bye, which that's a whole different offseason talking point. This playoff format sucks right now.
Yeah, bye teams 0-4 this weekend. Very true.
Insane timing.
Kirby Smart applies for the Cincinnati Bengals defensive coordinator position.
What? The amount of money they'd have to even pay him to just like have a head coaching interview is something in itself. But yeah, we got one more game to talk about if we got nothing else on Georgia Notre Dame.
Yeah, Georgia sucks. They're watching.
Georgia's trash.
I think Marcus Freeman's really got Notre Dame in the right.
Do we still view Kirby as the top head coach in college football, or do we think it's someone else? Because I don't know who I'd take.
No, I don't know who I'd take other than Kirby Smart, to be honest with you.
No, I mean, I just love that somebody else is going to get a ring, and we got like a little.
Yeah, we'll join the elite twosome of Dabo and Kirby Smart. Who's it going to be? We'll find out in a couple of days. Last one of the quarterfinal round. This one was the first one.
Oh, AJ, while we're on the topic of who might win the Natty, you want to explain how Ohio State wins the Natty no matter what? No matter what. We got
Penn State in the Fiesta Bowl was on New Year's Eve, correct? I believe it was New Year's Eve. They beat Boise State 31-14. The game was never truly competitive. Like, it was there for like maybe 5 minutes, and Penn State got the lead and never really looked back. Boise State looked outmatched, 5 stars all over the field, at least defensively. They couldn't move the ball. Genty, he had pretty good runs in this game, but it was nothing that was ever able to take over the game, you know. So, your guys' thoughts on Penn State just demolishing Boise State for 4 quarters?
It's a very boring game.
Yeah.
Lopsided, Penn State. Drew Aller's going to be tough to beat, in my opinion. Their defense is going to be pretty good.
I know they didn't have to throw the ball too much, but
No.
only $171. Is that concerning when you're going to play a defense way better than Boise State's, Danny?
Yes, I've been saying it. Aller and Penn State have not played good enough to win if they play real teams in these playoffs. Like, they're blowing these teams out, but the first team spotted them 14 and then really 21 with the picks. And the SMU just gave the game away. Penn State didn't dominate as much as it looked like. Boise was the same way. It was kind of like, I mean, that game was 17-14 with like 8 minutes to go in the game. Like, it's just, I don't know. Penn State has not played good enough. I think they've gotten too cute. I do not like their offensive coordinator. I think he does way too much. When you start putting linemen in motion, like consistently linemen in motion, not a trick play, you're just like, that's called, oh, I like how this looks because it makes me look like a genius. No, it actually makes you look like a dumbass because you're putting a body that could be moving people for your two outstanding running backs, and you're like, we're going to put him in motion and then not throw him the ball. Like, even if he does get in motion and he's got a wide open pass, what are you going to do? The chance that he catches it is low, and then the chance that he is athletic enough to turn around and get more than 5 yards is low. Like, what's the best way, or what's the best thing that comes out of that? Nothing.
Anyway.
The worst thing, you're taking a blocker away.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Yeah, it looked like Boise State, they kind of panicked at times. They had 4 turnovers. They had 3 interceptions thrown. What I'll say about the upcoming Orange Bowl tomorrow night is these two teams rely on turnovers very much so, and kind of their version of offense. And something's got to give. It's whether both teams are going to start giving the ball away or both teams are going to have to be perfect, because I think possessions tomorrow night is going to be the most important thing in the Orange Bowl. If we have nothing else on the Fiesta Bowl, we can move on to previewing those 2 games.
Yep.
What do you say? Good?
Yep, let's go for it.
All right. Tomorrow night, January 9th, 2025, we have the Capital One Orange Bowl, I believe. Notre Dame, number 7 seed, a 1.5 favorite, taking on the number 6 seed Penn State. Nittany Lions, over under set at 45.5. Like we just went over multiple games, these are 2 quarterbacks that aren't really necessarily looked at star quarterbacks. I think Drew Aller was a 5-star. Riley Leonard, I want to say, was maybe a high 3-star, low 4-star. Key things to watch: 2 players, 2 NFL type players, Jeremiah Love and Abdul Carter. Abdul Carter on Penn State, great defensive end. He's projected to go top 5 in the NFL draft next year. He has a game time decision as of about 2 hours ago. We'll see if they trot him out. I cannot see a world where he does not play in this game.
Oh, me too.
He's going to play. Same for Jeremiah Love. They said he's good to go. Last thing I saw from Marcus Freeman said he's good to go. So we'll probably see both running backs in there. Yeah, this is a big one, Connor. I'll start with you. Your boys, you're finally in a position where you can see them have a shot, a realistic shot at a national championship, and they're a game away. Marcus Freeman's got the boys going. Give me your takes on the game, how you see it's going. Don't give me your prediction yet. We'll save it for the end after I talk to Danny.
Okay. I haven't really touched on the O-line all that much this year. And the past couple of weeks throughout the playoffs, I've been looking at videos pregame of them guys. That pregame speech, I forget what his name is. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head. I have to see his face again. This pregame speech that he gives those guys before the game it makes you want to run through a brick wall. So I don't see there being a problem. I mean, he's a great player. That D end is, but I feel as though Notre Dame's O-line can hold him. They're going to put up a fight against him. They're not going to just let him free run to the outside and trying to get to Riley Leonard. And Riley Leonard's also pocket awareness is very good. He knows how to step up into the pocket. Almost, I don't want to compare him to Joe Burrow, but it almost kind of looks like Joe Burrow.
Oh,
It's just Riley Leonard is way faster than Joe. But I hope Jeremiah Love is good to go. I mean, they say he is, but I hope he's 100% because that's a big part in the offense. Passing wise, I'm sure the checkdowns are going to be there. Maybe they'll run a couple screenplays. I saw them incorporating some of that. I saw something on there on ESPN where they were talking about it. And hopefully long ball is there as well.
Maybe you can get a couple. We'll see.
Defensive side of things, just keeping Drew Aller contained. Like I said last week, keep the big plays to a minimum. Stop the run game. Don't make them be one dimensional.
Yeah, because they're gonna want to play through their running backs and let Drew Aller just figure it out.
Right.
Feel the defense out, see what they're in, find the soft zones. Danny, your outlook for this coming game tomorrow night?
Yeah, I think it really comes down to if Penn State and Drew Aller are connecting, or Penn State's wide receivers and Drew Aller are connecting. If he has another game where he throws for like 170 and maybe a touchdown, Notre Dame wins. Like, I think Aller has to play. Like, you're not going to be able to beat Notre Dame's way. Like, I don't think Penn State's as good as Notre Dame when it comes to no quarterback, hand the ball off, play defense. Even though they are really good at it, Notre Dame is, or the thing that Penn State has over Notre Dame is offensive firepower. But I think it's more rare that Notre Dame or that Penn State shows up on offense than Notre Dame. Like Notre Dame, you know what you're going to get, and they're pretty consistent with it. But Penn State, it's weird, man. Like 4 turnover, or Boise had 4 turnovers, and it's still a 3-point game. Like the fact that Penn State can't put those types of teams away, it's alarming.
They won 31-14. They found a way.
I know. I'm saying prior to that moment, though. I mean, it's not like those 4 turnovers came in the last couple minutes. Like they should have been up at least that 17 in the fourth quarter. Like I have more faith in Notre Dame to show up and play a good enough game to win. I think Aller made some mistake. I think Cole and Nicky, the Penn State offense coordinator, will outcoach himself. I don't think, and he's going to come in with such an inflated ego because of what the last 2 games have been. And I think that shock factor is going to end up being what hurts Penn State. Notre Dame just played a very physical Georgia. And then, honestly, Indiana is probably a little bit better than Boise. That would be a hell of a game. But so I don't know. I'm going to give the benefit of doubt to Notre Dame just because I just think they've been in more of these games, and I think they show up more. So I'm going to take Notre Dame like 20.
Can I ask you guys a question?
20.
If you were Bo Pribula, you had just transferred from Penn State. You're watching all of your closest friends for the past 2 years go and play. They're a game away from the national championship. I know you had to transfer to get your starting spot for next year. What do you think is going through his mind right now, watching his guys about to play in the biggest games of their lives? Well, if you win a national championship, that can redo your whole mindset as a player. You know what it takes to get there. You know how the mental grind it takes. But for someone to transfer out of that spot and not even be in it, how do you think he's feeling right now?
Probably like a douchebag.
Well, I think that is a perfect case of a rock and a hard place. Like you got to transfer, but it also he did not want to transfer. No player wants to transfer. Just like no player wants to transfer that late into the season. But
right.
Basketball's so freaking stupid with their scheduling and the way the offseason's set up. The offseason pretty much starts a month before the season ends.
Yeah.
And it's like if you're in the playoffs, you're screwed.
Yeah.
Like, and then they give this like little side rule where it's like, well, you get a bonus 5+ days. It's like, dog, you're the backup at Penn State. You got to get in while the schools that still want you are.
Right. A lot of quarterbacks have already taken up their spots.
Right.
So very scarce.
Like he was the hot name. I mean, he'll find a place.
Yeah, I just thought it was interesting kind of look at his spot. But Devin Brown's in the same spot, and he stayed. So who knows? Maybe someone tried to pull him out of the portal. I don't know. Well, we'll get to our game predictions. I'll start with Danny. I know you hinted at who you're taking. Give me the score prediction, how you think it ends up happening. Danny?
Do what now? Sorry.
Score prediction.
Score prediction, how they're going to happen. I think that Penn State is just not going to do enough offensively. And I think against Notre Dame, I don't think when you get into that game where both schools don't even hit 24, I think that's Notre Dame 100 times out of 100. So I'm going to take Notre Dame 23-20. Hell of a game, but I think Notre Dame just kind of controls.
Connor?
I'm going to go Notre Dame 23, Penn State 17.
How do you think it happens?
Notre Dame wins.
I mean, how do they get there?
How do they get there? I'd say a pick six.
Is Carson in your head?
Yes.
Carson's in your head, man. You were doing so fantastic, and now as soon as Carson started typing, you've lost it. He's reading all the comments. He says you took out his mailbox the other day plowing snow.
Connor, what? You took out his mailbox?
Buddy, this guy lives in a subdivision. I ain't even in a subdivision.
You're gonna let him talk trash to you?
Connor, this guy started commenting, and you started saying gibberish.
Listen, no, 23-17 Notre Dame. Pick six, Riley Leonard touchdown, and another Riley Leonard passing touchdown.
So there's 21.
That's 20, yeah.
And
then what? A safety?
That's extra point.
They go for two.
All right.
They go for two once? Because if they go for two, that's 22. If they go for two twice,
maybe there's a safety in there. Who knows?
Danny, they're in his head. They're in his head. We'll move on.
AJ, how do you think Penn State, Notre Dame plays out and final score?
All right. If you haven't noticed, I've been picking against the teams I want to win.
Right.
It's a win-win situation. If you get it right, hey, you get it
I don't
right.
like where this is going already.
My thing is, I want to see Ohio State and Notre Dame in a national championship just to put the dagger in his back. Right down there. So, with that being said, how does he get there? How does he get there? Penn State is my pick to win. Why? Because I think Notre Dame relies way too much on the turnover to be consistent enough for them to prevail in this game. I think if Penn State protects the ball like they have been for most of the playoffs and most of the season, they'll win this game by a touchdown. I think Notre Dame and Riley Leonard, they're not built to play from behind, much like Penn State. So I think whoever team jumps out to the early lead, firm control of this game. And I think both of the running backs are good enough to take over. They both have a really good two-headed monster in the backfields. And I think Penn State gets the ball first. I think they go down there. I think they jump out to about a 10-0 lead in the first couple of possessions. And then if you don't like defensive and hard-nosed football, then don't watch this game because that's all it's going to be. Yeah. I do think it's going to be back and forth most of the day. I think, like I said, Notre Dame's just going to be playing catch-up, and it's not going to be enough. Final score, my prediction, Penn State wins 23-16 in a very good game, very good Orange Bowl. Both of these teams, one of them's got to win a big game. Yeah. They haven't done that, and God knows how long.
I will say, though.
Also, shout out, Notre Dame, first career New Year's Six bowl win ever. Congratulations, Connor. Welcome to the club.
Also, shout out Sarah's grandpa. Rock on.
Later. He's in Florida. He's in Florida chilling. He might be able to go to this game. Probably not.
Oh, you're in Florida. He'll definitely bet this game.
Snowbirds. Anywho, that's the Orange Bowl recap. Preview. Anybody else got anything on the Orange Bowl before we slide on to the next big one?
Well, I did say early in my playoffs, and if you look at my national championship, Ohio State, Penn State, and by him right there, AJ, said, I don't know when he found out my podcast or my playoff thing. So Look at that. I mean,
3 out of
Almost
4
a
ain't
perfect
bad.
bracket.
3 out of 4. And I changed my mind on Notre Dame. Not when I will say it wasn't until like a couple days before the game.
Yes.
And it's after I saw how Georgia played. So this is definitely my bracket. I'm not mad about it. Yeah. I mean, I got Ohio State right. I got Texas right. I will say this. I don't want to come off cocky because Texas will be such a hard win. But this podcast is for putting my opinion out there, and my opinion is not wrong because we're talking now and not in the future. I think the winner of Ohio State Texas wins the whole thing.
I don't think that's a crazy thing to say.
I just think this side of the bracket is so much better than that side. Even though I do think Notre Dame is really, really fucking good. I just think they're like the only team that could win the whole thing on that side. And I think this side had like 4.
Yeah.
That you could argue.
It's fair. I don't necessarily disagree with it.
That's the
all right.
I can say something.
The second of 2. This one played on a Friday night.
Tentatively. It might get moved.
Possibly. I don't really think logistically that they will do that.
They're not going to move it for like 2 inches of snow.
It's supposed to be ice storm.
In Dallas.
They're
expected to get some snow, something they're not prepared for. They don't have snow plows down there like we do up here because they don't get it. They don't necessarily have the resources for it.
They get tornadoes.
Yeah, but they better figure it out because they got about 90,000 fans from Texas, Columbus, Austin, all the big major cities in Ohio and Texas coming to watch this game play. And
almost all the playoff teams are going well over 1,000 miles to play their playoff game. Texas, 200.
That's insane. Yeah, all they've had to do is travel to what? Austin, Atlanta, back to Dallas. Crazy.
No, I mean for this game in specific.
Oh, to their spot?
Ohio State, like 800 miles or whatever. Notre Dame's like over 1,000. Penn State's obviously about the same as Notre Dame.
Yeah.
And then Texas is like a 3-hour drive, bus drive.
Crazy.
Don't fly, but.
All right. Goodyear Cotton Bowl. Ohio State was last time they were here. It was a year ago. They lost to Missouri.
Oh, my goodness, yeah.
Same bowl game. Number 8 seed. They are 5.5-point favorites, taking on number 5 seed Texas. The over/under set at 53.5. Big ones in this one. Keys of the game. Does Texas double team not Jamar Chase? Sorry, wrong sport. Do they double team Jeremiah Smith?
Pay that man.
Just rely on Emeka Buka and Carnell Tate and Brandon Ennis? Is that a smart strategy? I don't know. I'm not going to tell you how to run your defense. Ohio State's defense, do they continue the intensity, the swagger they have, the pass rush, everything, all of the above? They have shut down every form of run in this playoff by the 2 teams they've seen. They've made 5 stars look like MAC schools up front, and it's been pleasing to watch as a Buckeye fan, and you'd love to see them consistently do that. Even the defensive backs, they've been on their game all playoffs. So fun to see. For Texas, your wide receivers, or all of your receivers for that matter, Ryan Wingo, Matthew Golden, Isaiah Bond. I know Bond's been banged up a little bit. And then Gunnar Helm. They like to rely on him in the tight end spot. He caught a big touchdown. I think it was the go-ahead touchdown a week ago against Arizona State. They love to use him. That's kind of Quinn Ewers' safety blanket. So if you're the Buckeyes, you kind of see what you need to work on if you're a linebacker there in Columbus. And then Quintravion Wisner. Can he get going? Because if they can establish the run and make Ohio State guess on play fakes and play actions and all that, opens up the defense. You can make your plays on them. So those are big ones. Kind of funny that we have Quinshon, Travion, and then Quintravion for Texas. Very funny. That's all I got as far as keys to the game. Danny, give me how you think the game's going to go, and who are you most excited to watch in this game? This is a big time matchup.
Yeah, I think our defense has been able to play so free and so well because the linebacker spot has been able to just sit back and make plays. It's a lot of spies. It's a lot of zone coverage. Kind of stay here and read and make a play on the ball. I think our DNs are doing a great job at creating their own pressure with just the front four. Our DNs are doing a great job at not just getting home, but just creating a great bubble for our D tackles to crash. DNs have set the edge. I think that's massive. JTT and Jack Sawyer have done a great job at letting the boys up front, like Tyleek, and then you also like Cody Simon can play QB spy, and that has worked flawless the last 2 games.
They've also kind of put Caleb Downs there too every now and then.
They've been able to really play on their toes.
Yeah,
I think the biggest thing is I think we're going to be able to stop the run. The thing I'm scared about is like what you were saying. If they start to hit a couple of the passes, you naturally have to let up a little bit and be a little more hesitant. I'm worried about that. Quinn Ewers, even though he might be struggling, he's a very smart quarterback. So when he sees somebody, and he had a great game against Oregon. You didn't hear his name, but Iggy is a guy where if there's one-on-one and you throw it up, the chance you're going to either catch it or get a PI is likely because on an island, sometimes he freaks out and just does not trust his own eyes. And so he gets way too physical. I'm worried about that. And then Quinn Ewers, man, he could be hit or miss. So we can say how much he's struggled, but guess what? When he hits that 4th and 12 on you, I don't know. I think the key to the game is just making sure Quinn does not have time. Just pressure, blitz. Make him make the throw before you reel off the blitzing.
What I'll say is defense is as close as what he's going to see this weekend as in Georgia. He's 0-2 against. Yeah. And Georgia was able to get theirs against him. That's also the offensive line that a lot of people think is Texas has the advantage in this game, which they do. They've proven most of the year. But, yeah, if Ohio State can keep Quinn in check and make him think that he's seeing something else that he's not seeing, it could be a long day for him. Connor, Texas, Ohio State, who you like in this game? Do you think Texas has a realistic shot to pull this out?
I really like Ohio State. Just the weapons and
Jack, clip that.
Yeah, clip it. You won't hear it in a couple weeks if it happens. But
bold talk. Can you imagine?
You guys are already looking forward to the following week. You're not even looking at this game.
That's not true. I am so nervous.
I'm locked in on this game.
This feels like a beautiful spot to fuck up.
Yeah. Anyways, I like the way Ohio State's offense is. What's the word? Clicking. They've really just gathered it together for the playoffs.
Yeah.
Defense is very, very well, which they've always been good in my what I saw.
Yeah. It's been able to put up more than 17 points on them.
Yeah. But I don't know. It's a pretty tough Texas team. I feel like Ohio State won't have a problem shutting down Quinn Ewers. I can see Quinn going out there in the first half and absolutely laying an egg, and Texas coming back and going with Arch in the second half. But if
I'd be scared if I'm an Ohio State fan. At that point.
Do what?
I said I'd be scared at that point.
Yeah,
because Ohio State doesn't do well against mobile quarterbacks.
Yeah, if Texas was smart, I don't know if they would do this or not because it's kind of crazy. They'd flip quarterbacks each series just to see what happens in the first. Just to see what happens in the first.
Never works.
Nope. You got to get in a rhythm.
Well,
but AJ, what I was gonna say is, do you think because in that Oregon game, the one game that Ohio State's defense has not played good in, really probably the only game that they haven't played good in, because the Michigan game, they were the only reason that game was even 3 points.
Yeah.
Do you think Quinn is athletic enough to give that linebacker core and the D-line, but more important, the linebacker core fits? Because, like, when I was out in Eugene watching, it was just like the mobile aspect of
Dylan Gabriel
is why it's like it was killing us because he just kept extending plays, or it was a lot like when Tennessee and Bama played in 22. I know Tennessee pulled it off, but like, man, that was just a bunch of like Bryce Young and Jahmyr Gibbs just like playing backyard football. Like, yeah, you get there, but you just can't bring them down. And now it's just they make a play. It's like playing a March Madness game and playing great defense, and then a white guy hits his 5th 3 in a row. It's like,
yeah. What's the question?
So do you think Quinn Ewers is good enough to have that type of game where it's like Ohio State's getting after him, but he just gets out of the pocket and makes a play?
He needs to step up and run, can he?
Yeah.
Can
he do it enough where if we're getting after him, they can still win the game?
I believe so. I think he's got the talent to do it. He's got the pocket presence. Like he ran last week a couple times just whenever he needed to. I think Ohio State's not going to respect his ability to move out of the pocket and make big plays on third downs. Like I could see them saying, we're going to just play maybe 2-man high, zone the 2 safeties, play man up front, and then have your linebackers maybe rush the edges. And if Quinn steps up on a big third down and they keep getting those plays, this is going to be a ball game. Yeah. That's the key.
I'm nervous because I feel like everybody talks down on Quinn, but it's like, oh, he
was the highest rated prospect ever.
Yeah.
The talent's there. The arm talent alone can shred Ohio State if given enough time. Because we know Igbenogsun's going to get a penalty if you give him time to, put hands on each other.
That's why I'm saying those plays that go longer than 5 seconds is where it gets dicey.
Yeah. Are they going to let him play? Because if they do, that goes in our favor a lot at Ohio State. If they don't, then that's where you're going to start seeing Steve Sarkisian and Ewers
for once.
Yeah, they're gonna start targeting the cornerbacks because Lord knows they want to play physical. Ryan Wingo is going to have to have an incredible game for Texas to actually, I'd say, be able to hold a lead or to get the lead and win the game. But yeah, I agree with everything you guys said. I'm nervous, very, 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 very nervous. This should be an all-time classic. I know I've said it one time before, but yeah, you don't see these two teams play very often. But guess what? We're about to see it 3 years in a row. Because just after this game, week 1 next year, guess what's happening?
Yep.
Rematch.
Yep.
Texas Ohio State.
I think I might go to that one.
Is it in Columbus?
Yep.
And then the year after is in Austin.
Yeah, we start with it.
So next 3 years, we're going to see the matchup a lot. So it could be a start of a new rivalry. It could not. We'll see.
Yeah, you're going to see it after not seeing it in over a decade. You're going to see it 3 times in like less than 20 games.
It could be Notre Dame too. Ohio State's done that with Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Last 2 years, and then maybe next week. We'll see. Not looking ahead.
I would love an Ohio State Notre Dame natty just for the North, just to really kill this narrative. I mean, I'm not going to lie and say the SEC wasn't running, but God, I'd love to see them scrape for everything because it's like if Notre Dame and Ohio State, the two other than Michigan, the 2 most prestigious northern schools, to be in a natty playing each other after Michigan and Washington just played. Just no teams of the south of the Mason-Dixon line need to be playing for a national championship. Honestly, don't even let them play football.
You remember the last time that the SEC went 2 straight years without being in a national championship game?
Oh my God. No. It was like
1999 or something. It's been that long. That's crazy.
Wait, to go back on what Danny said about going to the Texas game, I thought you were done going to Columbus.
They just reel me back in.
You just want to figure out? Nah, I'll be right back in.
I'll go to the game.
We have given
I want to go to the Cotton I found tickets for like $100, but I'm not. It's not my year.
Just trying to go down there would be tough.
Yeah, it's the travel and all that.
Plus snowing, they're like runways. They don't really.
I'll be honest. If I went and we lost, that'd be my 3rd loss. I'm done.
Here we go. Predictions. Score predictions for the game. Why you think it's going to happen? Where you think it's going to happen?
What's the line?
Use the game. The line is Ohio State -5.5 over under 53.5. Connor Beckman.
Oh, are we going to do a parlay thing? Sorry.
I mean, we don't really. There's only 2 games.
I'm not betting on my team this year or this week.
Connor. give me who you think is going to be matching up against Notre Dame and your prediction in the national championship game in Atlanta, Georgia, in just 10 days.
That's crazy. 12 days.
Crazy.
That's
12 days.
I'm gonna go Ohio State, the winner. Give me
I have not thought about this.
classic Ben 10, big Ben 10. Fucking idiot. Big.
You're eating sunflower seeds during the podcast?
Yeah. Give me classic Big Ten matchup. That's not really a Big Ten matchup, but it's going to be a Big Ten score, I think. It's going to be, give me Ohio State winning 16-10.
Jesus Christ.
All right. You think Ohio State's offense struggles against the defense or just a gut feeling?
Just a gut feeling.
Fair enough. Daniel Corbett.
Yeah.
Your Ohio State Buckeyes. They've let you down a couple times this year. You went out to see them twice. Let's hear it. Score prediction. Do the Ohio State Buckeyes reach their first national championship in 4 years?
I saw them 4 times this year. I'm 2-2. Let's calm down. Yeah, so I think this game is
Those
actually
were big games.
What? They were all big games. One of them was big noon kickoff, actually. Ohio State Marshall.
We are!
Yeah. Anyways, Ohio State's 2-0 against We Are schools this year. I think this game goes against what kind of a lot of people think. You hear all this talk with defense and defense. I think this is a little higher scoring. I think you hammer the over, and I think Ohio State pulls out a instant classic on their way to a natty or bust season. Don't worry about all the other games that have happened. We've said natty or bust. We didn't say we want a Big Ten championship. We said natty or bust. All the hype videos, natty or bust. No, where did I get it from? The hype videos, natty or bust. Burke said it in like July. Anyways, 31-27. Both defenses have an off day just because I think Quinn Ewers is going to connect. I think Ohio State's going to keep doing what they do. 31-27, hell of a game, back and forth, multiple lead changes. Great game.
Don't hit it. Danny.
Buckeyes over AJ. Also, I knew I had something. Last time Ohio State beat Texas was at Texas. This one's also in Texas, so bada book, bada boom, book it. AJ, Cotton Bowl, Ohio State. Do they get the revenge from losing to Mizzou last year in it? And what's your final score?
I believe that this magical run that the Buckeyes have been on the last 2 weeks, it's been awesome to watch. It's been fantastic. Nothing I love more seeing than Ohio State playing at the level they can.
Chat, he's doing
nothing better. Nothing better. Gets me going. You know, when you have 5 stars and you have coaching staff as talented as we have, and they play to their standard, no one can beat us. But when you don't get the good coaching and you don't get the offense to play like they do, what happens?
You still win a natty.
You'll lose.
Oh.
They lost to Oregon with very bad timely decisions.
If my dad's watching.
You lose to Michigan when you get outcoached and try to play a certain way you're not ready to play for. I think the Ohio State's going to hear all the noise. Everyone in the media hyping up, saying that this Ohio State team 5.5. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? That's the number. It's not double digits. A lot of people taking Ohio State to cover. That's a big number for this close of a matchup. That's an SEC runner-up team. I think Texas and Quinn Ewers, they play their best game of the season. They're 0-2 against kind of prestigious type schools as far as like blue bloods go against Georgia. They're going to be ready for this one. It's in their home stadium. It's essentially a home game for them. Playing in Dallas, playing in the Cotton Bowl. I do think it's a back and forth event all the way down until the final 2 minutes left. I think Texas scores a late touchdown to make it 24-20. Sorry, 24-21. And as Ohio State's driving down to kick a game-tying field goal to send it to overtime, we've been here before. Jaden Fielding.
Go.
misses it to the right.
He's been making them.
And the Texas Longhorns will go to their first national championship since Colt McCoy in 2009. That is my final score prediction. The Longhorns go back to the national championship to take on Penn State.
Oh,
in a matchup I don't know if we've ever seen. I don't know if those teams have ever played before. That's kind of an interesting, fun matchup. And if we get there, we get there. If we don't, we don't. Don't get me wrong. Hearts with Ohio State, rooting ever so hardly for them, and Notre Dame. But I'm picking against both of them. I don't think they can each pull it out. I don't think they have the clutch gene, and I don't think the coaches can win big games when their backs against the wall like that. Do we have anything else for this weekend as far as outlooks go?
Yeah, I don't know if I'll be able to watch the Ohio State game.
What?
In case he has to plow.
Yeah, I might have to work.
Yeah.
That's fair. Are you guys watching tomorrow night?
Yep. You guys
Where
want
are
to
you
watch it?
We got to watch in my basement again.
I know Trevor's mom's birthday dinner is tomorrow night at his house that he invited me to.
Whose? What?
Marie's birthday is tomorrow. Or her birthday dinner is tomorrow. I was invited.
Right? We didn't get an invite.
Okay.
I'm just telling you what happened, man.
Happy birthday, Marie.
Yeah, happy birthday. Hey, can Ohio State win an early birthday present for me? You know what's awesome? I could claim early birthday present for the Texas game, and I could claim late birthday present for the Natty. I mean, they're both within a week of my birthday. I think you.
Very true. Is your birthday going to fall in the Natty one year?
Nah, it's a little early. My birthday's.
No, another extra game.
A lot of the natties are like somewhere in the later teens, like 17 to like 21. It's kind of like where I think it's going to fall.
Maybe one day you'll get there.
Well, I think my birthday could maybe fall in like a semifinal game pretty easily, but I think I'm always going to be about a week early, unless they shorten the year, because I think a lot of people are crying about how long the span is. At most, everybody should get at least a week off. Like, you should get a week, kind of like how they do the Super Bowl. It's 2 weeks. You play, both teams get a week. And so everybody gets a week, or the bye teams get 2 weeks. Instead of everybody gets 2 weeks and the bye teams get 3 weeks. And if you don't make you should never not play, like, more than 14 days off or 15-ish days off if they play on, like, a random weekday.
We get it. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Do we want to give what we think Trevor would pick in these two games?
Yeah.
All right, Connor, give us who's Trevor picking for Ohio State, Texas?
Trevor's definitely picking Ohio State
to win.
Yeah.
What score? What do you think, Trevor? What Trevor pick? That's Trevor probably picked 32
by a million. I guarantee it.
32-20. Trevor picks Ohio State to move on. He's also taken Penn State to move on to the national championship. He thinks they're going to handle business against Notre Dame. He likes Drew Aller. He likes Tyler Warren, and that guy can change games instantly. So he's taking those two to make it a national championship game. If you guys have nothing else, Danny, I think, has already closed his laptop. Correct? Yep. Anywho, don't forget to like, subscribe, share with a friend, tell somebody you love them.
Right.
Yep.
Horns down.
That was BKU. We will see you guys after the semifinal games. We'll have our national championship matchup. Hopefully it's Buckeyes. Hopefully it's the Irish. But if that's all we got, we do not know ball.
No, we don't. Our
Never
YouTube channel does not match our podcast name either.
It doesn't matter. We can't get and someone else has the title, so we cannot use it. So
they give it to us.
Until then, it's
we'll pay $1 million.
Anywho, I'm AJ.
No, we don't have that.
That's Danny.
We will.
We are Paul Nowers University. Horns down.
Go Irish.
Go Irish. Horns down. OH.